In the old days, when a pilot wanted to escape from an aircraft, he had to try to pull himself out of the cockpit. So the video you're seeing here is a wind test from a pilot trying to escape an aircraft back at the end of World War II when aircraft speeds were getting higher and higher. As you can see, it's taken him a lot of time to try to pull himself from that aircraft. By the time he's finding out that aircraft could have blown up, it could have crashed, a lot of different scenarios can happen when, in this situation, when a pilot's trying to get out. So a modern ejection system, as you can see here, goes very quickly. By the time the pilot pulls the handle, in less than a second, the ejection seat has cleared the aircraft, and depending on their altitude, it already has a recovery chute and is floating safely to the earth. So roughly, these seats come out at about 300 feet per second, so they're moving pretty quickly. About 10 to 14 Gs, or 10 to 14 times gravity. So because these aircraft speeds kept getting higher and higher, and these ejection systems had to be so quick, a pilot would often get dazed or confused or even pass out and they couldn't open up their recovery parachute. So in the old days, like in the Korean War, they had to eject from the aircraft, and they had to be coherent enough to pull their recovery parachute so they could float safely to the earth. But they found, as this picture shows, pilots when they would pass out or get dazed and confused for just a few seconds, and those critical seconds could save a pilot's life or not save their lives or cause them to crash. So what we have here, we need to go from an ejection, so when you're in the seat, shown here, and then into the recovery parachute. That time needs to be as short as possible. So when a pilot pulls the handle, we need to get him in that recovery parachute, because only when they're floating down to the earth do they have the greatest chance for survival. So the new systems have 3 modes of recovery. Mode 1, Mode 2, and Mode 3. So what we're interested in here is 15,000 feet for the altitude. Okay, and 250 knots. Okay, so 250 knots is roughly 288 miles per hour. So over here, altitude and speed, that's what we're looking for. Okay, in mode 1, the ultimate goal is to be right here in mode 1. So we want to have low altitude, which is below 15,000 feet, and below 250 knots. Okay, only when you reach these 2 parameters, below this and below this, so below 15,000 feet, below 250 knots, will the pilot get their recovery parachute. Okay, mode 2, they're actually below 15,000 feet, but they're above 250 knots. So until that pilot or that crew member gets below 250 knots and below 15,000 feet, will they get this recovery parachute right here. Okay. So they will stay inside the seat until they reach, in mode 2, until they get below these 2 parameters. Okay, mode 3 is just simply above. It's really above both, but it only measures altitude. So if you're above 15,000 feet, you're going to stay inside the seat until you free fall in the seat below 15,000 feet. A big part of that problem is the breathable air. There's an oxygen bottle on the side of the ejection seat, and you're breathing that air until you fall below 15,000 feet. Only then are the parameters safe enough for you to actually survive. So the ultimate goal is mode 1 right here. So again, mode 1 is low speed, low altitude. Mode 2 is high speed, low altitude, meaning faster than 250 knots and below 15,000 feet. And then mode 3 is just simply above 15,000 feet. So once all those parameters are met, this is all automatic. So the pilot can be passed out and wake up on the ground in their parachute alive. May be injured, but